Ladies and gentlemen, happy Tuesday on a Thursday for a Monday podcast. I don't know, whatever. Any rate, it is a mixed up week. It is a short week for me because I'm off the zombie camp. So we had to move the podcast recording to Tuesday nights. So all of you that are here, thank you. Appreciate you all being here. It is another episode of the DisFluencers podcast here on Brandy and Dave. And tonight, we again delve into one of my favorite topics, which is TikTok and vertical media creation. With our guest today, Mike Molinari. Mike, dude.
What's up?
What's up, man? Welcome in. Appreciate you taking the time to come talk Disney content creation and all.
Of course.
That.
No, thanks for having me. I'm excited for this.
Dude, it was fun. Mutual friend Will pointed me in your direction, and here we sit.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm ready. I'm ready to talk all things.
Talking sweaty Disney and the mid-Atlantic states. And
yeah, good old East Coast and good old humid hot Florida. I mean, dude, it's like the best of both worlds here.
So I know you just went recently, and we can get into that, right? But is it humid as all get out in Jersey as well?
No, so it was hot for like the month of July, and then recently now it's been pretty like normal, but it feels cool. It almost feels like, oh, hello fall, you're here. But I still want summer to still be here.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get another like heat spur here, but it's been pretty chill, like not chilly, but like pretty cool.
You can have ours because it was 85 with 90% humidity yesterday. It was.
So yes, yesterday it was the same, but then like today it's much cooler out. I'm like, what is going on? So I don't know. At this point, I'm just rolling with the punches.
Whatever. We haven't gotten rid of the humidity here in central PA. I don't understand if it's just hanging between the mountains. I have no clue because it's usually bad in August, but it hasn't been this humid for as much time as it has been. Now, granted, it's not 110 degree heat index like it was in Florida not long
ago. That was, I've never, people say Florida's, I've been in numerous times in the summer and I've never experienced heat like that. And I know I'm not crazy because all my local friends said the same thing. They were like, this is not normal. I'm like, like, it was insane. It was so bad, that heat.
It was, so my wife teaches, we are 100% normally summer family vacation people.
Right. Makes sense.
But we go for like 10 days.
Nice. There's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome.
And it's fantastic, but we do it because we get up early, we get to the parks, we are in a restaurant by noon, no matter what. To get out of the heat.
No, listen, I agree, and that's what I always listen, I'm not any professional here, but that's what I tell people when they want to go in the summer. I'm like, that's what you have to do. You have to go in the morning. You have to be out of the parks by like 11 or 12, and you don't go back to like it's 6 o'clock at least, because it's just, why would you want to be miserable during the day?
Right. It's nuts. It's super interesting to like pop back into the park at 4, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And just see people that have gone balls to the wall from start to 5 that are probably dehydrated.
Yes. And delusional, need sleep.
Yeah, man.
No, listen, I get it. And I'm like, kudos to those people. I could never.
It's nuts. I mean, again, to each their own, but whoo. Nice. So Disney brings us together, Mike. Where did your love of all things Disney or Disney parks or what stem from?
Ooh, so basically, honestly, ever since I was little, right? Like I had my first trip to Disney when I was 4, and we would go like every other year, like every 2 years we would go. So it really just stemmed from when I was little. Just grew up watching all the Disney classic movies. Grew up obviously going to the parks and just seeing everything different and staying at the different hotels, and just became that tradition. Like, would look forward to that one day. Oh, finally, we're going to Disney, get on that plane in the morning. So basically, at the minute I grew up, and I just grew up at all things Disney. And then never stopped going and never stopped loving it.
So are you Disney through and through, or is it a parks thing for you?
No, Disney through and through. I mean, I love watching the Disney movies. I love going to the parks. I know all things Disney. I'm also interested in all the history, so I watch all those documentaries on whether the parks, Walt Disney. So I am definitely that history buff too, which is why, like, when I recently went to Disneyland, I was just like in awe because I'm like, like this is where everything happened. This is where Walt walked. This is where Walt would stay, and all those like nerd things, Disney nerd things that like would drive us crazy. So definitely Disney through and through.
Was that your first land trip?
No, so I actually had my first land trip back in 2016. And I did it like that was my first Cali trip, but we obviously went to land. So I definitely didn't get it was nice because I got to experience Disneyland, got to see all the new stuff. I think it was like Cars Land for the first time, experience Disneyland in general. We didn't stay long, so I felt like I wasn't able to really fully grasp much of it. Mm-hmm. So then, unfortunately, my next time I went to Cali was COVID. So the land was closed. So I got to walk through downtown Disney because that was open. Mm-hmm. So then last September, I finally got to see Disneyland again and just experience it all. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I understand what people were talking about now and how great Disneyland is.
You were there for D23 as well?
I was. I didn't do the conference, but I went for the parks, and I was there during that same time.
Yes. Yes, I was there.
No way.
D23. Yeah. Yes, we were at the... That was my first time ever. So, yeah. It was a good time. I don't know if I'm as big of a fan as land as people expected me to be honest.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Why do you say that?
So the caveat is I only spent like 4 hours in Disneyland.
Okay.
So did Pirates, but didn't do Space Mountain, didn't do Indiana Jones, didn't do like down through that. Like did Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, had to, obviously, right? But it for me, and I know you're an East Coast guy too. We were kind of talking about this, right? We go and it's for an extended period of time, and I like being inside the bubble.
Yes.
There's no bubble in Anaheim.
Yeah, there's not.
and there's no gradient from okay, everything's cool to what Anaheim is. And,
you're not wrong.
It's just it, and it's not even like the hey, there's a Waffle House across the street or whatever it is. That's not what gets me. It's like you're there. There's a bunch of people sleeping on the street that you have to step around or over. Just I don't know. Wasn't my bag. Now, California Adventure was solid. We did Oogie Boogie that night, and it was.
Wait, which night did you do Oogie Boogie?
The night you were there, I think.
Oh,
because you were. I'm assuming you were with Will, because randomly ran into Will.
Was I
there? Mate, I don't know. Your mic's cutting out, boss.
I don't remember. I do know that I was like separated at some point, so I don't even know. But maybe I did run into you, and if I did, then I'm still terrible right now.
No, you're good. There were like 1,000 million people there that night.
Yeah, that was interesting, and I was actually disappointed with Oogie Boogie. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people hyped it up, so I was excited when we went and Oogie Boogie was there, and I'm like, oh, like let's do this. Like everyone hypes this up, but then when we went, I'm like, oh, you know what? Like this isn't what I thought it was gonna be. Like I think because I was really thinking it was gonna be a Mickey's Not So Scary, just Disneyland version, but like with Mickey's Not So Scary, it's more emphasis on entertainment, where I believe Oogie Boogie is more emphasis on the trick-or-treat trails, which we really didn't put a focus on because we didn't know any better. Mm-hmm. So when we were doing the parks and everything, I'm like, okay, like this doesn't really seem that great. And then we did Villains Grove, which everyone hyped up to be, and it was nothing really that special. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it was interesting to do Oogie Boogie for sure, but it was still good. I think I would just do it differently if I went back.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed Oogie Boogie. I also enjoyed the fact that it was my first time at California Adventure. So
Yes.
kind of a Marvel guy. Really enjoyed. Like we got in early as soon as you could get in with the ticket. We
Mm-hmm.
went in, so we got to see Avengers Campus. Now, granted, they didn't have a lot of the characters walking around that late in the day,
Right.
but I got to see Avengers Campus. Got to go on Spidey, got to go on the fake Tower of Terror, right? Like,
But believe it or not, I do enjoy Guardians, and I always say it's the drop sequence. Like it is a better drop sequence than our tower. Like I think if they put whatever drop sequence they have for Guardians into our tower would be like. I love our tower. Don't get me wrong,
right.
but I think it would just be so much better.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Guardians.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Spidey. Ate at Pim's. It got as much of the experience from an Avengers Campus standpoint as I could. Enjoyed
Right.
that. Got on Incredicoaster with like no wait twice in a row. We just so the things that I kind of wanted to do, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like we weren't waiting in line for 2 hours to do Villains Grove. Just it wasn't happening.
Yeah, I regret that.
Yeah, it's just that's a long wait. Like that and there were a few meet and greets that were like crazy long lines.
And that's the thing. That's what we were, and that's what I guess where we said we just didn't realize because we saw those lines, and for Villains Grove, I think we wound up waiting 30 to 40 minutes, which still is not worth what we walked through. Mm-hmm. But regardless, like to your point, like even the tree trails were so long, and I'm like, again, we didn't know any better, right? So like we're like, why are these tree trails so long? Not understanding. Oh, like yeah, that's the biggest draw of this party. Right. But I'm like, that's crazy. Like all this long lines, it blew my mind. But to your point, the benefit was all the regular lines were walk-ons. Like we walked right on Spidey too. So in that retrospect, it was good too.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, got to see Soarin' Over California. I haven't seen it forever. That was fantastic.
Oh my God, my dream is to see that. I miss Soarin' Over California.
I miss it. I like Soarin' Around the World. I wish that they wouldn't have put so much CGI in it.
I agree. And my other wish too would be I wish they would just make it more what is it called? Like randomized, like almost like they do with Star Tours, to where like there's so many things around the world you could show. Like you easily could have multiple films.
Yeah.
And just so you never know which one you're going to be able to see. And I think that would just be so much better than just around the world. I agree with you. The CGI ruins it, and I just don't ride it anymore because of it.
We ride it. It's once a year. Really enjoy it. But that's an interesting take, and it's not one that I've heard before, which is go shoot a bunch of stuff around the world. You have all the transitions, right? So the eagle come in and the splash and all that, right? Why not? Why not randomize it? That'd be.
I think that would. Like even California for some reason, I guess it was just because it was the OG. I don't know. Like I love Soarin' Over California. I could ride that numerous times, but around the world, I just can't. Like it just I don't enjoy it. But exactly. Like if you're gonna do around the world, there's so many other landmarks that you could film and have that you could easily randomize and show. That way, rewritability just goes up. But I'm sure it takes a long time, but
it does. But like, here's my thing: that was done in 2014.
Yeah,
it's done by helicopter with crazy expensive camera gear. You can get the same shots with a $4,000 drone right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why aren't you doing this? Like, think about it. You have the space. It makes perfect sense what you're saying. It's like send out. Pay for four people in their mid-20s to go run around Europe, Asia, and Australia and just see what footage comes back, because it might not be as grand as some of the stuff in that, but I guarantee it, if you give them a few $1,000s in drones, they can get crazy like you've
100%.
you've seen some of these guys with like the 3D like Oculus on,
Yes.
flying
Yes.
live. Like, holy mackerel, dude.
Oh no, it's insane. Like, oh yeah, they absolutely could do something like that. Now, would they? Probably not. But
No.
I always say, like, I would love to be an Imagineer, but I probably would not fit any type of budget with all my ideas.
Well, this is one that's probably okay, right? You could theoretically do it. So you look at Epcot right now, and it's in complete disarray. It's Walcott. We
So
don't know
bad.
what the hell's gonna happen. Talked to someone who went through Moana whenever it was, the play testing stuff, and they said it was really great. But is it? Like
that would be the first time I heard that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, just there was some cool stuff there, but I there's three things. One, I don't know why you had to mess with Future World. Why'd you mess with my Future World? Let's keep it Future World. That's Epcot.
I agree.
That's one. Two, I don't know how Disney, and this is just across the board, hires contractors that take 50 times longer than what Universal does.
The only thing I could think of is I've heard rumors that Disney or the construction workers that Disney has are paid by the hour.
Mm.
But I also don't know how Universal construction workers work. But I mean, really, I would think Disney should just do a better job of having their construction workers hit those tight deadlines or something, because it is ridiculous. I agree with you.
All of it's contracted out.
True.
So it's who's going to build this for the least amount. Okay, cool. So you would think that they want to get through this to maximize their individual profit. The only thing I feel, the only thing that they could possibly be running into is Disney self-imposed red tape, where 8 people at 6 different levels have to sign off on everything before moving to the next step of the project. And
that would make sense.
Just don't. It's bureaucracy. That's just it seems that that's what it has to be.
No, I agree. I would agree with that. Like, that does make sense, and that does seem like a Disney thing to do. So I wouldn't put it. I would not doubt that at all.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But no, to your point, I mean, like, it just blows my mind, because especially the stuff that's taking forever is in the middle of Epcot is like stuff that should not. I mean, like, literally, you are rebuilding a building that you knocked down. And I mean, like, at first, I kind of liked that they were like knocking down those buildings, because I kind of didn't like the buildings. But now that they redid the West Side building, which is now Creations and all that, it actually looks a lot nicer. So, okay, it probably just needed a refresh. But I digress. But, like, you're rebuilding a building that should not take as long as it is. And then in the middle, all you're doing is gardens and putting the Walt statue, which has been built now for months.
Yep.
So I'm like, it just blows my mind of how long it's taking. And we still don't have an opening date, because they just released that they're going to start the 100th anniversary September 22nd. But none of that stuff that quote unquote was supposed to be available for the 100th will be available on the opening date. So it blows my mind.
I don't get it. You can't blame COVID anymore.
Nope.
You know, it's not like they can't get workers. You can't blame. You can only blame yourself. And you look at what Universal's doing with Epic and how quickly it's moving along.
Oh, I know.
I don't know.
But I always say, even look at Velocicoaster. That started construction pre-COVID, pre-shutdown. They built that. Yes, it was affected by COVID, but then literally before the parks even opened, they were in overdrive and building it. And it literally opened a year after COVID. So I'm like, to each his own.
Well, the thing is at some point, Disney's going to fall behind the 8 ball when it comes to this stuff, because projects that are put out there. I mean, let's be realistic here. Everyone's hoping that with the announcement of was it $15 billion over 10 years, $17 billion over 10
Yes.
years going into World. Everyone's hoping for a fifth gate. That gate wouldn't open until 35 right now.
I agree with
this
you.
pace.
No, I agree. I mean, to be honest, though, too, I feel like I'm the unpopular opinion because I'm so against the fifth gate. We don't need a fifth gate.
Right.
I think there's so many parks, specifically Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, that need much bigger expansions and more rides.
Right.
Where I'm like, we don't need a fifth gate. Like, you could easily put that money into expanding our current parks because you have Hollywood Studios that went kind of through an expansion, yet not really when you really look at the footprint. But like, you have 8 attractions and 6 of them are the most popular attractions in the entire bubble.
Right.
And then you have Animal Kingdom that has 5. So it's like, you need more attractions at least those 2 parks. Even Epcot could use more attractions as well.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. You got to maximize what you have. And I mean, if you get really nerdy and you look at like actual statutes, local statutes and state statutes, Disney on paper can do a 5th park, but like I don't think it's easy for them to do it. And in today's day and age, I don't know if 17 billion covers what they would want to do. So
no, I mean, do we even know how much Epic Universe is costing Universal?
I don't know off the top of my head. I have to look it up. Which I guess I could do. There is a computer right in front of me.
No, I was just trying to think for like comparability perspective.
But
on how that would work.
But to your point, you could build out Animal Kingdom. The issue is that whenever you go back to Josh D'Amaro's Blue Sky, this is what's going in Disney World BS. They're gonna retread Dino Land. They're gonna retread it. My guess is that they're gonna lean towards Zootopia because they already have all of that plan done for Shanghai, right?
Right. Yeah, Shanghai's getting Zootopia, which I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Zootopia because it kind of still is that animal, even though it's an IP. So is Avatar, but like still, I feel like if Zootopia is done right, it could still fit that animal theme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do I agree with it doing Dino Land? No, but honestly, ever since Primeval World has been removed, I'm like, something needs to be done here.
Yeah.
I hope Moana does not go into Animal Kingdom because I think that doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit.
No.
It fits better
than
But I
would be all for Zootopia. I would actually want that. Originally, I thought it should replace Rafiki, but I would still be fine with a Zootopia going in.
Yeah. I think they need to double down on Rafiki's Planet Watch. I think that the original thought process of the park, which is let's spotlight environmentalism and animal not saving. What am I trying to say? Animal conservation.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. And dude, I'm a huge fan of all that. I have been for forever, right? Like I think that it'd be awesome if they dropped a bigger The Living Seas over there. That'd be interesting.
Ooh. Okay.
You know, you look at like SeaWorld Dubai and just see how incredible.
Oh my God. Yes.
And you take that same thought process and you've already done it once, which was like a jewel for a long time at Epcot. And you could theoretically do it again. And you have staff that knows how to handle, aquatic wildlife.
Correct.
So you could theoretically do that and do something that is legit.
100%.
Right?
100%.
And really incorporate. You could do that and incorporate Finding Nemo and Moana because it's the Pacific Rim. You could do all kinds of really cool things with that. Will it happen? No.
But we could dream. I mean, listen, like to me personally, I mean, granted, I think this is not even a Disney thing. I mean, it's really all parks. I mean, clearly we're going away from the whole original content. And when I say that, I mean like an Expedition Everest type attraction, right? Like the original story and all that. We're definitely going away from that. I don't think we'll probably ever see that again, and it's really just IPs. But I kind of wish we would go back to that. I kind of like those classic attractions, I mean, Everest is kind of a classic at this point, where like it's a story, it's an original story, and it just made it a little bit more exciting. I feel like.
Yeah, so if we take a step back, everyone's all, a lot of people don't appreciate IP going into spots where there shouldn't be IP. But if you look at what Magic Kingdom actually was, it was all IP for stuff that.
Oh, agreed.
That Disney wanted to have on television. So.
Oh, agreed.
IP's always done that. The issue is that they've done so many retreads recently, and so many live actions of a classic, right? And
right.
We can't come up with an original idea. It seems that way. When's the Expedition Everest movie coming out? Because we're going right down the line. It's got to come out, right?
I don't know. I mean, what? I mean, granted, though, I doubt it. I've never heard any rumors or rumblings about it, but like, right. I mean, any movie besides Pirates, really, at this point.
Yep.
But any movie that was based on attractions have not historically done well. I think Pirates was the only one that took off and ran. I mean, those were some good movies, but like all the other ones never really did well.
Yep.
But who knows? I mean, I know they're like the movies aren't doing great, so who knows what they'll concoct.
Did you see Haunted Mansion?
I did, and I actually enjoyed it. And I really thought I was not going to, especially in the first like 10 minutes. I'm like, what am I getting myself into? But then as I obviously finished it, I'm like, you know what? It was very, very good. And I think, and it might be more of a Disney adult in me because like there's so many Easter eggs to the attraction where I'm like, if you're not a Disney fan, you don't know the attraction, you're probably going to miss it and it's not going to make sense to you. But it's those moments with like the hot box ghost, the two guys that are in like the gallery room when they do the birthday party that shoot the thing, they have that in there. So it's like those little moments where I'm like, oh, like this is actually really cool how they're all incorporating it. So I enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. Big Haunted Mansion fan. Just I was so scared that it was going to be an absolute pile of trash. And you're like the 9th person that has said I went in thinking that it wasn't going to be good, and I was pleasantly surprised. So I'm trying to keep my mindset there, and when it hits, I'll watch it when it hits Disney Plus. And I'm cool with that, and I'm super excited that people are enjoying it, even if it is even if it's for the fan base. I'm cool with that. For once, they've done something for fans of X, right?
Agreed. So, now, who knows if that was their intention, but you know what? It still worked.
Yeah, that's all that really matters. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm just not going to the theater at this point.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I mean, literally, I'll go see a random movie just because I want popcorn. So I was like, oh, this is out. Let's go see it. And like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. So it was actually really good.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back, right? So we talked about Oogie Boogie. You said you were disappointed. You just came off of the what I'm saying is the first real return to Mickey's Not So Scary, Very Merry Runaway Railway Halloween Party, or whatever it's called these days.
Right.
So I got a little teaser from the TikToks, but you enjoyed the party more than you expected?
Yeah, I mean, I think I enjoyed it. And I do always love the parties. I think the downside for this one was the heat. So we wound up getting there late. So I definitely me personally was trying to rush to try and see everything, which was a mistake on my part. But I still loved it. I mean, literally, I love the Boo-to-You parade. I'm not a necessarily fan of the fireworks show that they have for Halloween, but like I'm also a sucker for a Disney fireworks show, so I'm like, I have to watch it, even though I know I'm not going to enjoy it that much.
Right.
Some of the treats were good. We tried, I think, the buffalo chicken hand pie, which was pretty good. We tried the spicy wings, which for party wings were not bad.
Cool.
The Boo-to-You parade was I felt like it had a little bit more villains this time around, which was nice. It had it had Minnie, Daisy, and Clarabelle dressed as the Sanderson sisters, which was
That's cool.
cool.
Yeah.
So the parade was good. Giving out a bunch of candy this year, more than normal. So that was good. I mean, literally filled our bags up after the first couple of trick or treat trails.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then the villain show was nice. The Hocus Pocus show always is a hit. So I enjoyed it. And it was nice that this year it didn't rain. Last year it like rained the entire night with like a good hour of like torrential downpour.
Yeah.
So this year it was nice, even though the heat was a drag. And honestly, Space Mountain for the party, I would say entertainment, hands down a highlight, and then Space Mountain, because the fact that Space Mountain, I didn't get to do it this year, but I did it last year. The fact that Space Mountain turns off all lights, it's completely pitch black in there. Amazing. Absolutely terrifying, but amazing.
Right.
So I enjoy it. I love the party.
That's cool. Yeah, I did it in 19. It was the day that I flew in and got there. I enjoyed it. But it was also like myself and like 20 other vloggers.
Yep.
And it was like herding cats. We didn't get anything done. We just hung out, but the vibe was there, right? Like it was cool.
100%.
It was the first year they did the 12-foot Jack Skellington.
Oh yes, for the fireworks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was solid. I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm completely like, I'm 50-50 on all parties. I end up going, but like the value to me isn't necessarily there. Of course, I'm looking at it from a 4-ticket standpoint.
100%. And I mean, listen, that I always try to remember too. Like it's always a downside. And I mean, like, right, because there's so much. I wish the parties were longer. Like I think it's nice that they're 7 to 12, but honestly, like I feel like they need to be longer. There's just so much to see and do that I'm like, you can't fit it all in like what is it, 4 hours?
4 or 5 hours. Yeah,
4 or 5 hours that the party's going on. So that's the downside of it, in my opinion. It's like, it sucks because then it's just like, well, what do you want to do most? Do you want to see the entertainment?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to ride rides? Because you can't do really everything. So I agree with the value, because like you're definitely going to miss something that your ticket is covering.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at it as, for a lot of people to go regularly, doing it every couple years, every few years, it isn't bad. And because you go to the parks regularly, you can say, we're going to do 2 Magic Kingdom days, right? You go for 5 days. One ends up being a party ticket. You buy 4-day tickets otherwise, and you get in early. So you get a little bit of the park on the second day to catch a few things, and then you get into the party at night. And, you know, again, do you have younger kids that want to go meet all these characters? Do you as an adult want to go meet all these characters? Because you just collect, I mean, and I'm not, that's kind of where I'm at. But do you want to do that? Do you love fireworks and stage shows and parades? Because the Boo-to-You parade is the only parade that I like, quote unquote, enjoy. I don't mind parades. I'm not seeking them out. But the Boo-to-You parade was awesome.
Yes, really I agree. I love that parade.
So I get it from that standpoint. It is really tough for people to go every few years, and they're trying to shove everything into it. And they go during this, and they think that they're going to get, like, they use it as their Magic Kingdom day, and that you just don't get it done. No,
I agree with you. I mean, it is rough in that point. I mean, the only thing I could think of is like, if you get into the park by 4, you have still about a good 5 hours before like any entertainment starts. 4 to 5 hours,
right?
But it's like, you know, how much can you really get done in that time frame? Like it is hard, especially, you know, for those once in a lifetime people. So that's the only downside.
It's real tough. And again, for a family of 4 that's going and it's only once in whatever, what's the better spend? Is the better spend $650 on tickets after tax for 4, or is that $650 better spent doing whatever else? Is it an extra day of tickets? Is it an extra day of tickets and a $200 California grill meal? What are you going to enjoy more? And again, I don't knock anyone for doing whatever. I just know that for me, I'm probably picking the other ones over that. Just me.
Which is, listen, it makes sense. Like, everyone's going to have different, that's why I always say, like, I even just notice it with, like, my friends' trips. Like, I have this one friend that lives here and she goes a lot, but I'm like, I could never do Disney the way you do. Like, I definitely go off more often than her, but she still goes a couple times a year. But, like, she's like theme park rides, like, and I'm like, no, like, I could never do it. Like, me, I like to just go relax, do what I can do. Again, granted, I get to go often, but, like, still, like, I like to just enjoy being there and not necessarily needing to rush around and have to do everything.
Yep. Yeah, we're kind of a hybrid between those two. I mean, we get down there and we were kind of talking about it. Like, I schedule everything out in the morning because I'm that guy, and it's we're gonna go hard and get the 5 or 6 or 7 things that everyone wants done by noon.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna go rope drop somewhere for lunch, probably a lounge, to be honest, and then just chill out. If we hit anything attraction wise the rest of the day, cool. But, like, we're gonna go to the pool. We're gonna go back to the park in the evening. But it's also coming from someone who goes often. So
right. And I always have to take that out of my head, especially to try and, like, understand the normal, I guess, person going. But at the end of the day, like, listen, there's times where I go with family. I have 2 family trips coming up this year where I'm like, I know I'm gonna have to, like, do stuff that's not normal to me. But again, I'm like, all right, am I a rope drop person on, like, a normal trip? I go with, like, Will or something. Like, no, we're not. But if I'm going with, like, family that can't go, I'm like, all right, well, we're rope dropping so we can make sure you get these rides in and not wait on lines. So, like, I could go between both. But but no, I'm the same way. I'm like, nope, we're rope dropping so we can get on your rides and without a line, and then we'll go back, relax, and then go back at night and see where the day takes us.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's crazy. Debbie in the chat here said that she goes with the flow with no plans. I don't know how you do that these days.
It depends. I mean, like, even, like, when I went with one of my very good friends from Jersey, he went for his first time in, like, years to Disney in January, and we had a plan, but at the same time, we also went with the flow at the same time because there was just one day where we rope dropped Hollywood Studios and we were exhausted, and we just went back, we're chilled at the resort, and then we didn't even hit up Epcot till, like, maybe, like, 6:00 by the time we finally got there, like 7:00.
Right.
So, like, it's definitely a hybrid. And there's trips where I literally go in with no plan, and I'm like, all right, I'll wake up and be like, where are we going today? Like, it just depends on the trip for me personally, and who you're with.
Yeah, I agree. I hear you. It's just there's so much stuff now that you need to plan. You need to have a reservation at the park, you have to have a park reservation in some capacity. If you're only there for 4 days and you're a once every 3 year type of trip.
Oh, agreed.
You're gonna grab that and whatever. So, I always feel that there's a sometimes, not always. I mean, we get it. I don't mean this, like, heavy-handedly, but there's a disconnect from those of us that go often to those that don't. And
I agree. I'll own it too. Sometimes I have to, like, remember that. So 100%.
Yeah, it's fun though. I mean, it was interesting. I was at a lunch with some customers, and they were, younger dudes, have young families, and Disney came up and we were talking, and I looked at them, like, dead in the eye, and they're like, I don't know, we got to go, but it's so expensive and so much and it's so hot and all that. And I just look him in the eye and I go, dude, if you don't freaking call me when you decide to go, the day you decide to go, call me, because I'll make it all go away. I'll point you in the right direction. But the best part is when you do that, 60% of the people that you talk to take no advice whatsoever.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. But I mean, that's on them. I mean, like,
yeah,
the one good thing is with the reservations now is that it's so easy. Like this, and when I say literally one of my trips, this past trip with Will, we had no plan. And that's mostly our trips that we go on. We really don't have a plan, or we change it all the time. But like, we had no reservations. There's mornings where we were like, all right, let's go to Epcot. All right, like, boom, can make a reservation late in the morning. So like, it worked in that retrospect. I can't speak on normal times, but I mean, really, I haven't heard in recent times where reservations were like an issue and people were not able to get the parks they want, or they were sold out.
I think unless it's a top 20 attendance day at Magic Kingdom, you'll always be able to get a reservation for every park at this point.
Agreed. I think the only last time we had this issue was spring break of this year. Yeah. I know they were running out, which also was very odd because Christmas wasn't even that bad. So I still question that, but it is what it is.
I think it's
agreed. Like, yeah, it's one of, if like you're gonna go during like Christmas or spring break, book your reservations if you can. But other than that, I think you can go in expecting like you can still be able to get a reservation.
Yeah,
if you need to.
They're using it as a staffing tool. That's all it is.
100%. 100%. And one could only hope that we still get that lovely thing where they say January 2024 no longer need park reservations. So
I thought that they said it was happening for 24.
So it was a technicality. It was literally, if you get a date-based ticket, you don't need park reservations at all. But like, which means which basically, in my opinion, means annual pass holders still need it, because I feel like everybody buys a date-based ticket. So I don't know, but that was what the technicality was. Is if you buy a date-based ticket, you do not need a park reservation, but other tickets you still might be able to. So we'll see. I mean, still a while, so we'll see if that changes.
It's dumb. There's two things that bother me. It's that, especially whenever it's like, if you buy a date-based ticket, you're fine. But if you buy a date-based ticket that has 365 days on it, you can't utilize. You have to do X, right?
Right.
You can't go anywhere, anytime, and that's the frustrating part to me. That, and the fact that you can't park hop early.
That I still don't understand.
Yeah,
and it's one of those many things to where like, we don't understand why one park it's okay to do it. Like Disneyland, they can park up at 11 a.m. But World, no, we can't park up till 2. But I could also then redirect for Land and say, Land, they still need a park reservation no matter what. Where World, after 2, we don't need one. So, but it's almost like it just doesn't make sense, to your point. Like, we should be able to park hop earlier than 2.
Yep. Yeah, I understand why they did it early on, because they were trying to protect the reservation system, so people just didn't get Animal Kingdom, walk in, and then walk out and go to Magic Kingdom, right?
Which still happens, really, because well, to an extent, like, I mean, you could do that so you can park hop at 2.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it at least now, like, again, from an annual pass holder, if you don't have a park reservation, you just go in at 2. But I mean, I agree, it should be much earlier, especially at this point in the game. Like, there's no reason for it.
Yeah, it's super interesting to me that they're still holding on to some of this stuff. And I don't know if it's just an extension of attempting to control the crowds, which they've always wanted to do. You know, do you remember paper fast passes when you would?
Of course I do.
When you would go and get one, and then occasionally just a random like freebie Mickey's PhilharMagic would pop out?
Ooh, that I don't remember. That I don't remember, but I remember like, sometimes you would be able to get more, but I don't remember the random freebie ones.
Yeah, they were attempting to send people to Fantasyland. This was obviously before 2012 when they had the update, but when the update opened, I guess. But yeah, they were trying to send people back to PhilharMagic to get people to move from the left and right extremities of the park, which is where everyone kind of hangs out.
Oh, you know what? I do kind of remember because didn't Philhar Magic have like a different ride or something?
It was Philhar Magic, but I don't think they had redone it, and I don't think any of the new stuff was in it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was
But
also
no, I do remember pay for fast pass. That was, I mean, I always said like people hate on each level, right? Like
right.
there's people that hated the fast pass because at the end of the day, if you didn't rope drop, especially those times where those like Toy Story Mania, Soarin', or just two that come to the top of my head, where like if you didn't rope drop, you did not get a fast pass, and like you were stuck in a standby line.
Yep.
So then they came out with Fast Pass Plus, but a lot of people would say like 60 days out, a lot of people ate up the fast passes. You couldn't get anything days of.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, a lot of people complain about Genie because they can't do it in advance. You got to do it at 7 a.m. Like, I hate the whole 7 a.m. too, but I don't know. Like, I don't, minus the fact you have to pay for it, but minus that whole thing that is paid, I don't mind this system. I think it's a very good. Does it work? No, but for some reason I don't understand why Disney can't get fast passes right. It just blows my mind. But regardless, I think it's a good hybrid between old fast pass, fast pass plus. It's on your phone. It's a little bit more of a fair playing field. Again, minus the fact that it is very costly. But I don't know. I don't mind the way it's run. But it's there's
like
flaws with everything.
It's like the electronic version of the paper fast pass is what it
exactly
really is.
Because it's first come, first served. You do the 2-hour rule. It's fair playing game. The only not unfair, but the only benefit for resort guests is they get the access to individual lightning lanes early. But the regular Genie plus attractions, it's fair game for everybody. You go in, you get it, and you start going, and then you just book as you go. So it's a little bit nicer.
It just sucks that it's $21 a person right now.
Yeah, that I don't agree with. I mean, with 15 per person, I'm like, okay, fine. But now that it's more, I'm like, I don't.
Yep.
I don't think it's worth. Now, granted, I haven't tried it with the parks being different prices. I kind of do think that's a little bit more fair to an extent. Right. Like, it depends on how much those parks cost. But at the end of the day, if you want to look at it, there's times where, like, I think Magic is like over $20, but Animal Kingdom will be $15. And I'm like, but that makes more sense because before you had to pay $15 or pay $20 no matter what park you do.
Right.
And at Magic, it's worth it because you have so many attractions. But again, like we talked about earlier, Animal Kingdom, you have 5. Yep. So it's like, are you really getting your money's worth with that? So, well,
that's the reason they went to this quote unquote, moving tiered, because people weren't buying it at Animal Kingdom at all. So they figured they'd rather get $15 out of people than $0.
At the end of the day, it's free money for them. And anytime you buy Genie Plus, it's basically, in reality, it's free money. I can't see what it's costing them to have that at all. Like, if you like, unless I'm wrong, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, like, it's basically added money.
You got to keep the servers running, but you got the servers running anyways. I mean,
right?
There's a cost to it, but it's not nearly, what you would think. At least I don't believe so. I mean,
I wouldn't doubt it.
It's all rolled into operations is what it comes down to. So
exactly.
It irritates me that Disney has gone to like an a la carte type pricing as opposed to here's your reservation for your hotel and here is your ticket and everything is fine and it's included.
Yep.
It's not free. It's included. That's why I always went to Disney. That's why it's tough for me sometimes to still be a champion of the value that Disney always brought. And
listen, it's fair. 100%.
It's so tough.
Because a lot of those perks that we used to get are not there, unfortunately. I mean, but then again, like, we're certain suckers to where, like, yes, are we happy with certain things they do? No. Am I still going to go? Do I still have a blast when I'm there? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I agree. That's the only thing.
And it's okay. It's okay because we adapt, right?
Yes. We might not like it at first. We'll complain, of course, but then at the end
Yeah.
of the day, we'll still eventually accept it and move, and then be fine with it.
Yeah, except for Harmonious and except for Enchantment. Both of them sucked. Thank God they're
Oh
gone.
no, I loved Harmonious.
Ugh,
That
yeah,
was my show.
yeah.
I loved it. Enchantment, I hated. I hated Enchantment. I loved Harmonious. That was my favorite show. I lied. Happily Ever After is my favorite show.
Yep.
But I did love Harmonious.
Yeah, I am like my my unpopular opinion at Disney World is that there's never been a good Epcot nighttime show.
Ooh.
Never.
Wow. I don't even know how to respond because I've never heard that before. Because usually it's
Yeah.
like Harmonious or Illumination. So
Right.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So here's my take. Illumination soundtrack, out of this world good.
Facts.
The Earth was stupid. Okay.
Yeah.
It was bad. Could they do
Like, I
it
think
yet?
for the time it came out,
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
Mhm.
But, like, I agree with you. That's why I'm like, I fully agree with you. Like, there was that, especially in that, like, soundtrack, great. But there was that moment where the Earth came out. It's great, fine. But there was just that moment where there's nothing happening for a good 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Could be even 10 minutes. I don't even remember. But there's just nothing happening. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, come on here.
Yeah,
So, like,
what's
that's
going
why
on?
I kind of got over Illuminations because I'm just like, it was outdated, but the soundtrack was very good.
Yep. Soundtrack was great. I also don't think that Epcot lends itself to a fireworks show at all. I think that I think that the Lagoon just doesn't do well when it comes to that because you are too close to the fireworks. It is too loud, too obstructive. I'm not a fan. Now,
Okay.
what I think they're going to end up doing, which is a drone show over the lagoon, is going to be the show. The show.
I mean, that's been rumored for so long now.
Right.
I mean, right? That's the $1,000,000 question. And
Mhm.
I've said this before. I mean, Harmonious, and I still want to hear your opinion on Harmonious,
Yeah,
but
we're fine.
this new show that we're coming, like I always say, I'm like, this completely was done last minute, so I'm very nervous for it. But again, like drones are rumored for it. So, we'll see. I don't know. Like I think drones would be cool, but I still think like I don't mind the fireworks at Epcot just because it's so much. In my opinion, it's so much easier to watch fireworks at Epcot. You have, I mean, that whole lagoon is the
Yeah.
showcase, and
Mhm.
you could watch it from any vantage point. There's no there's no issue in getting a spot. You're not lining up an hour before or even a half hour before. You can pull right up, boom, have a good spot.
Right.
So that's why I always just like the Epcot fireworks. But I'm anxious to see how this new show happens because
Yeah.
I'm also nervous because we have heard zero anything about it. So that makes me extremely nervous. But we'll see.
Yeah. I was just not a fan of the soundtrack for Harmonious. I wasn't a fan.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it fit Epcot at all.
No, I mean, listen, I completely understand. Like, right?
Mhm.
Like, I know that's not the first time I've heard that, so I completely understand. I think like I can understand to why somebody would think that, right? Like, I kind of look at it like they took the Disney music, and a lot of people had issues with that because it was Disney music. But the way I liked it was just they had it to where all those countries that are in World Showcase, you heard it in their language, and they put their own spin on it.
Mhm.
So that's what I loved. And plus,
Right.
literally, like you could dance, sing along to them, and have a blast.
Mhm.
So that's why I liked it. But I understand your point of view because a lot of people have said that before. And I mean, then there's also people that just hated Harmonious just because of the barges. Like,
Right.
who knows if they even watched the show or not, but they just hated the show just because of the barges. So
It did ruin it
yeah,
throughout the day. That's one of the most picturesque areas. And,
I agree.
And it's just, hey, there's a taco there. And I didn't know
And
that
a giant ring.
Yeah, I didn't know that Stargate was a real thing.
Right.
I was so mad whenever I was about to tell someone that it looked like Stargate and like they told me that. Like I was just I'm like, I thought I'd be the only one that got this reference, but apparently more people watch Stargate than I realized. I thought it was
Hey, see, people always surprise you. You never know.
Me and 8 people that watch Stargate with MacGyver, the original one back in the day.
See, listen, you never know what people watch these days.
It's true.
They always surprise you.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting there. I think Studios needs a show back, like a real one. Like they need to bring the Star Wars one back, dude. I
never understood
dude.
why they did not bring that back. That was actually not I actually enjoyed that firework show.
Yeah,
it was nice. I love Phantasmic.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen Phantasmic.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got to see Phantasmic. It's classic.
It's what I hear. I've been in there to see it, and I walked out. I'm just like, I have no desire. I don't know why.
I mean, listen, it sucks, right? Because like it's a nighttime spectacular, but it's also treated as a show.
Right.
Not that it's treated as a show. It is a show. It's a nighttime spectacular and a show. So like you have to do the whole lineup again. Get your seat. They're not the most They are not comfortable seats at all. No. But so like I get it. I mean, even for me, like right, like before COVID, have I seen it often? No. But again, it was that thing to where it was like it was taken away, and I'm like, oh, I want it back. I want it back.
Right.
So when they finally announced that I was there opening night, only just because it worked out that I was there in the bubble for opening night. So I went to opening night, and it was amazing. I mean, listen, I think the vibes also made it much more better. But the new show was fantastic. Have I been since opening night? No. But like, I still love the show. It's just it's a pain to go. Not in a bad way. It's just it takes a lot to try and go see it.
It is an investment of time and resources.
Yes, that is the perfect description. 100%.
Yeah, and that's why we don't. I would much rather. I love Hollywood studios at night, and I don't want to sacrifice 2 hours of that getting in line. I just don't.
I agree. Especially because usually at that time, all the most popular rides are walk-ons.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you know. But again, like we have that. It's almost like, you know, we have that. We go often, right? So like, it's always in a theoretic way. It's always going to be there. So we miss it one trip, we can eventually see it another trip.
Right. Yeah, dude. It's crazy. It's fun.
Yes.
You know, I've watched it here and like, you know, someone's live streaming it, whatever. I'll watch a few minutes of it.
Right.
It's not like I'm anti it by any means.
No,
like I am.
We get it.
But, yeah. But
you know, it's that time. It's that time to where it's just like, all right, like again, you have to get there. I was there opening night, so what? I can't even compare because literally we were let in. We started lining up at 4, and they finally let us in at 5:30, and I think that show was either 8 or 8:30. So like, we were there early, but it was opening night. Nowadays, I don't really know because I know when they were doing the 2 shows a night, a lot of people kept saying how empty that second show was. Right now it's only at 1, but I mean, like, hey, if you're there for a 2-night show, go to the second night show because it's after park hours, I believe, for the most part.
It's like
and
9:30, right?
Yeah. I mean, right now it is, and they're only doing the 1 show, so it's still after park hours. But I mean, even when they did the 2 shows, I think that second one was after park hours, so it worked. No, 9:30.
Okay, 9:30. All right, yeah.
Well, no, actually, was it 10 o'clock?
Was it 8 and 10? Is that what they did?
I think so. During spring break, yeah. Was it 8 and 10? So was it? Oh yeah, because you know what? Hollywood Studios was open till 9:30 during the spring. That's right. So then it was 10 o'clock, yeah, that they would do it. So they did it a half hour after park closing. And those were the shows that people kept saying how, like, there was not many people there. So if you have a 2 show night, go see the second show because then you're not wasting park time.
Yeah, it's exactly. That's a good point. It's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Cool. So obviously a Disney fan. How did this all stem into content creation? Where'd that come from?
Pretty much during COVID. I mean, just like everybody else in the whole country, like I remember pre-COVID, like TikTok was becoming a thing,
Mm.
or it was already a thing, but it was still becoming popular. And I'm like, what is this? What is going on? And then COVID happened, and I'm like, I downloaded the app, and then I'm like, oh, like, of course it entertained me during COVID, and then I would say probably started to get on the Disney side of TikTok late into 2020, 2021, and then my main thing was to um meet people and get friends through TikTok, and then I started doing the videos just because, like, all right, like it's fun, right? Like I
Mhm.
had a good time doing it, and some of my videos did well for. I mean, now I look back and I cringe because I'm like, oh my god, why did I do this? But still,
Right.
like they did well at the
Yeah,
time, and
we
I'm
all
like,
do.
oh, like it was kind of cool because, like, of course, like I would tell some of my friends, and they're like, really, like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
And now I'm like, how far it's come. I'm like, they're like some of the biggest supporters too. And they're like, wow, like you're actually doing well, whatever. And I'm like, okay, great. Like I'm still doing this for fun. Like this is just all for, fun. But no, and then I just enjoyed doing the videos. I enjoyed sharing my experiences, doing the funny sounds. But like I said, my main thing was to meet people that love Disney. Growing up, I didn't really have many people that shared that same interest besides certain family members, right? But like that was my thing to where I'm like, oh, it would be so cool to have friends and like do Disney with. Like I would try and drag some friends, and yeah, they would have a good time, but it wasn't that same thing. Like you didn't share that same interest.
Right.
Um, so then I met a lot of my friends that I'm still very close with now through TikTok. And now we go and we literally will have just a blast going in the parks, hanging out.
Yeah.
And it's not even just like a Disney friendship. It's true friendships, obviously, because like we
100%.
talk about life and everything.
Yeah.
And then it was funny because my very close friend that's like been my best friend since like seventh grade, I took him in January and he enjoyed it and fell in love with it. So like
That's awesome.
it was nice to have that. And I still go with family, but that's really where it stemmed from. I wanted to have friends that shared the same love of Disney I had, that I can go to a park with and enjoy. That's how I met Will, and obviously he has become a very close, basically brother to me. Went out and
Yeah.
visited him in Louisiana, even in February, and like met
Right.
his whole family because that was a blast.
Yeah.
Very great people. But yeah, so now we just go, and I think that's where I always say like it depends on my trip. Like if I'm going solo, which at this point I don't even go solo because I'm seeing my friends.
You
But
always
like
know
we're
someone
just
there now.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like I'm just
Yeah.
going and we hang out and we're hanging out in the parks. We're just having a good time. So that was always my goal. So like anything else with TikTok was just extra to me. Like I'm glad I like my videos do well. I'm glad people love my videos
Yeah.
and they laugh and enjoy it. But that was always my main goal, is to meet friends and have that bond with that I could go and have just a blast with. And I got that. So even if TikTok ended tomorrow, I got what I needed out of it.
Right.
But everything else was just a plus.
So were you I mean, obviously some of this was like itching that scratching that Disney itch when you weren't at the park. So were you into the whole YouTube community in any capacity, like prior to jumping into TikTok, or was it just
Oh yeah, like
right
watching
place, right
vlogs
time?
and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, like
vlogs,
I
live
watch
streams.
vlogs. Like I would watch all years.
Yep,
I would watch some of the some of the Tim Tracker.
Team Tracker. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I would watch them here and there, not religiously or anything like that. Just here and there, just trying to get into some type of Disney-ness while the parks were closed. And then, of course, like once the parks did open, and I think that's when I think the Disney side of TikTok really took off. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like I want to be there. I want to be there already. Everyone's here. And I finally took my first trip during COVID in November, so that was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I would watch some of those, not religiously, but just to watch, just to gain some type of Disney-ness.
Yeah. Disney TikTok or Diz Talk, if you will. Um, it's it blew up, man. Like
It really did.
it really went crazy. I obviously on TikTok, I'm a huge proponent of TikTok. I don't necessarily do what I should do and what I talk about and tell other people to do, which is make a lot of content, put it out there, and just let it ride.
Right.
But there's there's a lot, and there's a lot of good stuff, man. A
Oh
lot of
yeah.
good stuff.
Oh yeah. I
It,
mean, there's some great creators out there that do such great videos that I'm like, kudos to you. Like that's
yeah.
awesome.
Um, do you live stream from the parks on TikTok?
I do. I'm so like I try to because like I'll do a parade or something. My issue is I don't live stream often when I'm there just because I'm like I want to try and get as much video content as I can. So I'm like,
Right.
all right, like I'll try and live stream, but then I'm like, all right, like I gotta end it because like I gotta go film something.
Right.
So like I'll film mostly like fireworks and parades. I'm not like live streaming for hours on end just
Right.
because I have other videos to do. But I don't mind live streaming at the
Mhm.
parks. Like I enjoy it. It's fun. I mean, I even will live stream from home. I feel like I have some good friends in there that just make it easy to do it. So
Right.
I don't mind it. But like I'll definitely live stream like shows and stuff while I'm there. And then if I can do a couple like walk arounds, I'll do that.
Right. So are you like if you're going to the park, whether it's a trip with you and other fellow TikTokers or friends or whatever, or by yourself, are you planning all of these videos ahead of time? Like it's I'm going to Magic Kingdom. I have these 18 videos that I want to film, and I'm doing it. Is that your shtick or
Yeah, like yes and no. So like there's sometimes where like I'll think of something on the fly and do it. I would say 90, 80% of the time, yeah. Like I'll have sound saved or I'll have ideas that I want to do. Um, and I'll do those. But then there's some times where I'm like, ooh, like this would be something really cool, and I'll film it and then I just put it together. But honestly, there's so many times where like, and it's not a bad thing, but it might sound like a bad thing, but it's really not. Like where we're just having a blast, and like you forget to film. Like there's so
oh
many
yeah,
times. I mean, almost every trip I'll come back and be like, oh, I didn't film this, but like, yeah, well, I was having a good time. Like we were all enjoying ourselves. So
yeah,
there's also moments where like, yes, I do plan everything for the most part in advance. There's a lot of like spur of the moments where I'm like, ooh, this would be a good video. And then there's a lot of times I forgot to film things because I'm having too much fun.
right,
So it's definitely in between of everything. Or there's times where something will happen and I'm like, that would have been a good video, but can't do it now because the moment's over. So,
should have been
you
filming,
know,
right?
yeah, I'm like, whoops, I forgot to film this one moment. But
Yeah,
so, but for the most part, I do have everything in the back of my head for what I would want to film. And then whether it gets done or not is a different story.
yeah, I hear you on that. The whether it gets done or not is huge. There's a lot of people don't realize that when you're there and you aren't local, and it's not I'm going to the park today to do X, whatever
Right.
that is. Whether it's new food, new restaurant, new updates on a ride, like all those fun YouTube videos, right? With TikTok, it'd probably be a little different where you're looking at, well, these 5 trending sounds that I've heard in the last 48 hours are something that I should take part in, take advantage of, right?
Right.
Because I have an idea at the parks.
Yes.
But for those of us that are traveling there, it sucks. It doesn't suck. It is not the easiest thing in the world to balance actual vacation and
Right.
content creation. And it's tough because I know there's like we do family vlogs, right? Basically it's what it is. It's trip vlogs. We do some other
Yeah.
stuff. But like there are times when we've been doing this for like 5+ years now. We're like, oh, I have B-roll of all of this. I'll find it later.
Yep.
And then you go to do the video and you assumed you had B-roll of it and you never did. And it's
Yeah.
like, shit, I should have like, and that's, it sucks. Cause it's kind of like ebbs and flows where it's like, I'm going to have 28 hours from a 4-day trip of video.
Yeah.
And then the next trip it's 11.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, right? Because again, like it might sound like it's a bad thing, but it's not. It's a good thing. But yes, it's factual. Like you get caught up in the moment. You're not you forget to film things but you're having fun and you're living in the moment. And that's gonna happen, especially when you're not there all the time. And what I find is too is like if I don't have someone not holding me accountable, but like let's say I'm in the park with Will, right? And like he's like, all right, I gotta film X, Y, and Z. I'm like, oh, that's right. Like, I got to film this. But then there's moments where we're like just having a good time. And then the day's over. We were like, oh, we forgot to film this. I'm like, oh,
Right.
shoot, you're right. So, like, it just depends. But if I had that person where, again, they're not holding me accountable, but they'll be like, oh, can you film this for me? I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, I got something to film too. So, in a way, it holds me accountable, but
it aids in your own accountability.
Thank you. That's the wording. Yes.
Yeah. It's so that's the issue with this and that trips when we go on them, because no one holds anyone accountable except for me. I'm like,
right.
It's food and wine. It's first weekend. I'm going to go around and eat and drink as much as I possibly can and get it all on film so I can put it out later.
Yeah.
And then Shep looks at me and goes, are you? Because we could just go sit at Nomad for 4 hours. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good too.
Yeah, no, bro, listen, I get that 100%. Yeah, right. I mean, that was my thing too when I was there. I'm like, I'm going to go to Food and Wine, go to so many booths and eat. And then the Heat had a different story. And then, of course, it was Will's birthday celebration. Right. And you can put the puzzle together for that. I don't remember much after that.
Yeah, right. It gets a little fuzzy after Country.
Like,
5.
I was told I ate and drank a lot. Didn't film any of it, but you know,
trust me, it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, well, thank God it's a very long festival. I eventually will get there again and get more of the food stuff.
Yeah. So if you go for a festival, I mean, is your goal to be like first content, like first out there, like take for example the pickle milkshake that happened while you were there. Was it like, I'm beelining right to that, I got to get this content out? Or are you focused more on, I have a great idea, I'm going to go this route because I think it's going to make a better video in the end?
So I'm definitely not like, oh my God, I got to get this first out, because I think, especially being a non-local, I just know that's not realistic, right? Like, what? The Food and Wine started on the 28th-ish, maybe even earlier, right? I didn't go till the 10th. So, like, everyone already had their videos out, especially with the pickle milkshake, everyone had it out. However, what was unique for me is you probably saw those videos where, like, I had the realization where, like, pickles were made from cucumbers. And, of course, I was really drunk that night when I had that realization. So that just added to the funniness of it. So I'm like, oh, like, this is just coming full circle right now. We had this whole big thing with, like, Picklegate, to where I realized that, yeah, they're basically soaked cucumbers. So now I feel like I got to go try this pickle milkshake and come full circle. So that was that, right? Like, of course, like, would I filmed it probably with regardless of that? Probably. But again, it's just jumping on like, oh, this is like what everyone's doing. So I'm like, let's try this and try the pickle milkshake. But yeah, like, I don't go crazy trying to be the first, because I know it's not realistic personally for me.
Right.
Because, like, I'll never be first. I mean, only in certain instances, like the Halloween party. Sure, I was there opening night, so I was able to do stuff for that. But other than that, like for Food and Wine, I'm like, no, I'm not going to be first. I personally just want to go and try everything that I love for Food and Wine, and I'll do food reviews on it.
Yep.
You know, keep it easy.
You do a ton of food and drink reviews, correct?
Yeah, I've been doing more. So like every restaurant I go to, I'll do like a food review and just see what I got. And then for the booths too, I'll try and do it, at least for like the non-regular stuff. Like, I mean, I wouldn't do one for Canada because it's the same filet mignon and broccoli and cheddar soup that you get every year, is very good every year. You should definitely eat it. But like what I've been trying now is like the Italy booth for every festival, because I'm an Italian and I'm just disgraced by the Italy booth for every festival, because I'm like, how is it possible you have two good Italian restaurants in your pavilion? You have other good Italian restaurants in the bubble. How do you not have a good food booth? So I'll always do a joke to be like, let's see how bad this could be. So I didn't get to do it this trip. I'll probably do it in my next trip. But I always try and do like the Italy booth just to be like, how bad is this going to be this time?
It's pretty crazy how like, I don't necessarily want to say it's bad, but they could do so much better.
Agreed. It doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, it's it. Do you think Food and Wine needs like a complete like reimagining? Because I'm really starting to get that vibe.
Yes and no. I think the issue is with Food and Wine, like for years that was the festival, right? Like everyone loved Food and Wine. I think with social media that helped generate a lot more popularity than it was previously. Like not many people knew about the festivals. Like I think before it was Food and Wine and then it was Flower and Garden. And that was it, right? Now festivals have extended to everything. So
Right.
I love Food and Wine. I think maybe they could do a little bit more offerings, but I also feel that like I love the amount of booths they have, but I also feel like it's very overwhelming at the same time. Especially like, and this is a thing for like a non-local. I'm like, it's hard because you don't have that much time to try everything, and there's so many good on a menu wise. At least everything sounds delicious, and you want to try everything, but it's just like realistically, how much can you try? So I think it's nice that they have such a good variety, and I think it goes into the whole Food and Wine thing. But it's also a downside because I'm like, there's not enough time to eat all this and drink everything.
Right. Well, and that's the big thing, right? So let's say there's like what 30 booths, 28 booths, something like that.
There's 30 booths, yeah.
30
it's
booths.
Literally double the amount of any festival they have.
It's crazy. So it's 30 booths, and let's say you are going to Epcot for 2 days,
right?
And you at that point want to try one new restaurant, like you haven't been to Space 220,
right?
So one of those meals is Space 220. 3 of those meals could theoretically be snacks. How many snacks can you really have? I've had 11.
Right.
That's it. In one day. And that was just eating straight with the associated adult beverages wherever we were.
Right.
But it was a lot.
Oh, I completely agree. It's a and a lot of the times, like depending on the food booths, it can be very like filling portions. So like it's rough. Like unless you're sharing them, which that is a big tip. Like if you could share them, great. But like the food, there's a lot of food to try, and some of the booths have multiple options that sound delicious. So agreed. Like it can be very overwhelming. I don't know why this year there wasn't much decorations. Like in previous years, I'm wondering if it's maybe just too early, which is also weird because it's already started. But I mean, I agree. I think the popularity probably put the quality down. I don't think the quality is there in the booths as they used to be.
Right.
I mean, that could be said though for every festival, right? Like ever since the festivals became like the core of Epcot, I just don't think the quality is as there as it used to be. But it's on the fun of it.
It's interesting because they're trying to keep cost at least the same, maybe not minimize or reduce, but at least keep it the same.
Right.
When food costs go up every year, because they can't say, "Hey, come here, have this snack," and it be $14. It's not gonna work. So they got to keep it in that 7 to 10 range. I mean, people are cool, and I think that they've had to redo a lot of menus that way, right? Like if you remember, there was the lobster roll, and then it was the crab cake, and now there's nothing there. They switched the whole meal to like a small portion of seafood cioppino.
Yes. That is a good point. I forgot about that almost.
Which looks amazing, but they're reducing the amount of actual seafood in that. And if not, they're at least and I don't mean this in a like, okay, cool. I like cioppino, cool. But like the lobster roll was great. Like, you probably could have, for me at least, made it $13. I'd still eat the damn thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, let's be real. I mean, I don't think at this point there's a price that's going to deter somebody from buying something. Everyone, especially gonna buy something, especially at the festivals.
And it's a $300 sushi boat.
Yes, but look how many people were buying it.
I know, but that was also.
Will it last? Who knows?
That was also. It's a soft opening. I got to get my content out.
100%. Although I do say, like, it looked decent.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like you get a lot, and I'm like, listen, if you had 10 people and you split it, that's $30 a person. That would just be my question. Like,
there wasn't 10 people worth of sushi on that thing.
Oh, that would be my caveat. Yeah. Is there enough sushi? Because I'm like, technically, you go to an all-you-can-eat sushi place, it's about $30, and you don't really eat much anyway. Yeah. But that would just be my caveat. Like, is it the same?
Yeah.
But no, to your point, who knows? But listen, somebody's gonna pay it. That's the way I look at it.
I'm the guy that's pissed that California Grill Brunch isn't back because
that's true.
At $90, it was the best deal on property.
Agreed. I did hear a lot of good things about that brunch, so I would be in agreement.
Yep. It was all you could drink champagne.
Yeah.
All you can eat sushi. It was all you can eat everything, obviously, but they had a sushi bar. You could order as many meals as you wanted. You could literally sit there for 4 hours and that was your meal for the day. So after tip, $105 a person, $110 a person. And it was completely manageable. And, I took it at that time, my daughter was 12 and she ate $90 worth of sushi at California Grill prices. For sure.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No.
And then I do believe that even with that, you still would be able to show it at you would still be able to show it later in the day and go for fireworks.
Yep. You could come back at night and watch Happily Ever After.
So I agree. I would have loved to try that. I'm mad I wasn't able to try that.
I wish it would come back.
I mean, listen, you never know at this point. We still don't have Park Fair back, so
That's stupid, isn't it? It's just so dumb.
I want to say that's the last restaurant that's not open. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's the last restaurant that is not open.
Yeah, that might be.
But of course, now they're saying, they're redoing it. So who knows? We'll see what happens there.
It needed a refresh. It completely did. It was straight 90s in there, kind of like the rest of Grand Flow.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. I'm anxious to see what they do with the lobby, but hopefully it's not going to be too much.
I am scared. I love that lobby.
I know. Like, I know they'll probably update the rugs, which I'm not against. Like, I think the new rugs are fine.
Yeah.
But I hope that's all they do. That's all you need to do. There's nothing else you need to touch in that lobby. So
you really hope it's just a pretty intensive soft goods refresh, right? So new furniture, fine. New carpet, fresh coats of paint, all that. You got to do that because yes, it was getting old in there.
Yes,
it was. So that's cool. I really hope that they don't take the bird cage out and
nothing else they need to touch. Just those things, and that's it. You leave it and you move forward.
Yeah, that's always my tip is Grand Flow lobby for a Magic Kingdom break. Always.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely agree. You could sit in that lobby, and if you catch it when the pianist is there, oh, forget it. I mean, literally, you could just fall asleep on those couches. They're so comfortable, too.
Yep. And I was always a big fan of Misner's back in the day.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. I mean, I don't mind Enchanted Rose. I don't really remember the old lounge. But, I think Enchanted Rose isn't terrible. They make their drinks strong. So I'm like, you're getting your money's worth, especially for Grand Flow.
It is a, I don't necessarily love the $28 old fashioned or whatever it is.
Oh, I agree with you. Their price is definitely not fun.
But you can get one of their martinis for $14 or $15, which is standard across the rest of it. Their Boulevardier might be one of the best on property. And everything is handmade there.
Yes, which is lovely because I feel like a lot of maybe not the lounges, but there's a lot of bars across the property where I'm like, they're already pre-mixing the drinks, and then like Epcot especially. I mean, listen, America Bar where you get the moonshine from, that's all pre-mixed now. And
Yeah.
honestly, ever since they started that, I haven't enjoyed it. It's too sweet, it's too sour. I'm like, it's not good. And even La Cava has
I was just gonna say that.
they have their margaritas I don't think outside is pre-mixed. I think they still actually make it good, but like inside, which is the bar, it's all pre-mixed for the most part. I'm like, what are we doing here?
La Cava's too popular. They need a bigger La Cava.
I agree. But yeah, like I mean, Enchanted Rose is good. I do miss the orchestra.
So do I.
I would have really hoped they brought that back somehow. That was missed because that really was the grand flow. Like especially if you came in, they were playing. It was awesome.
Yep.
So I do miss that.
Yep, I agree. Enchanted Rose is growing on me. I was a big fan of Misner's because no one went there. And it was
agreed.
A standard bar, but also if you were a bourbon fan, they had a great selection. And like and this is 2018 or like 2017 pricing, 2016 pricing, but like for comparison, they had both Bullet Rye and Blanton's on the menu, and Blanton's was $2 cheaper than Bullet Rye. Bullet Rye, not Basil Hayden's,
right?
Not like Bullet Rye was $14 for a pour, and Blanton's was $12.
Yeah, I agree.
It was crazy, and no one went there. And the thing is that they had that little kind of nook up top, right by where you could walk out and smoke. If you remember where that was, there's a balcony on the second level.
The balcony, yep.
Yeah. But there was that little nook right there. It's now part of a shop, I think. But there was that nook there. And honestly, when my daughter was young, we would go meet all the people at Magic Kingdom, go to lunch at Kona or Ohana, and then go to the Grand Flow and just hang out. And we would sit up there, and she would just either nap or hang out. And it was right next to Misner's. And I would just walk in, get my wife a dirty martini, and get me an old fashioned. And we just chilled out and enjoyed it as whatever.
I agree.
Took in the lobby, and maybe it's a little nostalgic for me at this point, and I was super pissed when they changed it to Enchanted Rose, but we've had a couple really good experiences there as well. So I'm here for it at this point.
No, listen, I agree. I mean, that could be said too. I feel like just in general, like all the bars have just become very popular. I mean, it also depends on the night you hit it, because there's times where I've gone to Enchanted Rose and it's empty. There's times where you go and it's popular. But like even the Tamboon Lounge at Polynesian, that has become very, very popular. I'm not counting Trader Sam's because that's just a whole different ball game.
Right.
But Tamboon Lounge, very popular now. Abracadabra at Boardwalk, very popular now. Like it's always crowded.
Because it kind of dwindled. Like everyone loved it at first, and then like I think people forgot about it because Trader Sam's opened, 2 or 3 others opened, and like Abracadabra.
I mean, I'm going to say like it could depend on the night, but for the most part, I've never seen it dead there. Like it's always winds up being crowded.
Well,
but it depends on the night. But for the most part, it's always crowded.
You're going at night. I go at 3:30 because I'm old.
Oh, that part, that I don't know.
Yeah. No, we always just enjoy it as a mid-afternoon, whatever, right? Like it's vacation for us. We've done our activities in the morning, whatever we've done at Epcot, and we're walking out and we maybe ate and whatever, but we're going to go to the boardwalk and we're going to go to Abracadabra and let the kids just chill out, and we're going to enjoy an adult beverage. It's just
I completely agree.
Yeah. So love it. So favorite drink on property right now?
Ooh. I would say it's a top contender between the orange slush in France, the moonshine sour at I said it right. The moonshine sour at America, and the violet sake at Japan. Those would be like equally my favorite drinks.
Really? I haven't had the violet sake. I haven't had
really.
I don't think I've had the moonshine sour.
It's sweet.
Either. Really?
Like both are sweet. Violet sake is very sweet, but it tastes like a grapefruit jolly. Not a grapefruit. It tastes like a grape Jolly Rancher. So it's so good.
Yeah.
What about you?
Ooh, I really like the tempting tigress at Nomad,
Ooh,
which is the
that sounds
old-fashioned
delicious.
esque type deal.
Yes.
Nomad has a bunch of drinks. Like I hate telling people about Nomad. I don't like the gatekeep. I really don't. But like you talk about it, and then all of a sudden you walk in and you can't find a seat.
Yes, exactly. No, exactly. And then everyone loves it and goes there.
Yeah. The most underrated bar. Now, granted, I don't know post-COVID, but pre-COVID, it was Bellevue Lounge. It had a
Why
stellar.
didn't I know that?
It's the one upstairs in Boardwalk, right above Abracadabra.
Oh, yes. Duh. I knew that.
Yeah.
100%.
So that one, they had a fantastic bourbon selection. Bartenders were great. It was a cool spot, bookcases, all that stuff. Really cool. There had board games. So you could sit there and play chess and checkers and shit if you really wanted to. So it was an awesome spot. Really enjoyed it. Still enjoy it. Just I don't know if the selection's as good as it was before. I don't know if it came back that way. Ale and Compass, pretty solid.
Oh, I love Ale and Compass. It's great.
Surprisingly. What else? Little nooks, right? That you can actually get to. I'm a huge baseline guy, just in general.
Oh well, yeah, baseline slaps. Love baseline. It's awesome.
I saw baseline shirts are out now.
I did see that
as merch. I'm excited.
I did see that, which is awesome. But baseline's great, and they have like decent snack food.
Dude, it's the best charcuterie plate you're gonna get. It's $12.50, and it's a meal.
Yeah, and even that, like I've had the pretzel delicious.
Super good. Yeah,
the steak puff pastry, whatever it is, phenomenal, absolutely delicious.
I'm take it or leave it, but I don't think it's bad.
At least I had it once, and it was not bad.
Yeah,
so it could be like a hit or miss, but
and again, I had it and I enjoyed it, but I'm still just gonna get 2 charcuterie plates and like a pretzel. And
that's I do. I will say I definitely would choose a pretzel over that, 100%. Pretzel's delicious. Baseline's very good.
Brown Derby Lounge.
Yes, I love the Brown Derby Lounge. It's a pain to get to, but I love the Brown Derby Lounge. I love my margarita flight.
Yeah.
Because Nomad is in Animal Kingdom, but I also like the Tusker House bar outside. But it's not really someplace where you can just sit and relax. But I do like their drinks.
Dawa Bar.
Yes, I like their drinks.
Yep.
But again, you can't really just chill there. I mean, that's really it, though. Like, if I think about it, Epcot doesn't even have lounges like that. Well, go figure. You think they would?
It was called La Cava, and then too many people found out about it. The other one that's super fun there is Rosencrown.
But no, you can't even. Yes and no. You can, like, they do have standing tables there, but like, depending on the night, you can't really like.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's a great afternoon spot. Like it's a great late lunch because you can get
before that like nighttime rush of like people going. Yes,
because you can get that. You can get the Scotch egg, and you can actually get the fish and chips without getting a table. You can just go in, order whatever pint you want, and and get food and split. Like it's great if you get one of the stand up tables. You are right. It is very limited, and late at night, I can guarantee that thing gets crazy.
Oh yeah, most probably.
Yeah, and I wish they would do something a little more with the sake bar in Japan.
Where's the sake bar?
In the back of the Mitsukaru whatever the whole way back around.
Oh, like all the way down. Okay.
If you walk straight in,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I agree. Like a lot of the countries could have like a lounge or something. Like that's something they should look into. But I agree with you on that.
The fact that Germany doesn't have a lounge and it's just get your beer and drink outside, like it's odd. I get the whole like we want it to be Oktoberfest outside kind of vibe, but not when it's 110 degrees. No,
I agree. They should have something indoors, especially in that like corner. I feel like you could easily make something indoors because like It's like a hidden gem. No one really knows about that stand because, like,
No.
who would? It's so awkwardly placed.
Yeah, right.
The one right by the restaurant. I'm like, you're not really gonna know it's here.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's pretty. It's crazy. Um, yeah, I don't know. Epcot, not much. Studios already talked about. Magic Kingdom, there's nothing.
Nope.
And then you got Nomad and Dawa.
In Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, that covers it.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's not many like lounges.
No, but the other thing is, if you're gonna go do that, you go spend a late afternoon into the evening at Springs because there's everything you could want to do.
I know. Springs is definitely underrated when it comes to Disney because I mean, listen, I kind of get it because I don't go to Springs often at all.
Mhm.
Like, I just never have time for it. I'm like, I don't need to go, but
Mhm.
I'm like, so I get for people that aren't there that often, like, they're not going to want to go spend their time at Springs.
Mhm.
But some of the best food is there. I
Yep.
mean, literally, the best food, honestly, is at the resorts in Springs.
Yep. I agree.
There's not many like in park restaurants where I'm like, I would tell somebody you have to go eat at. I'm like, if somebody asked me for a suggestion besides Epcot, because the World Showcase, I actually don't mind a lot of those restaurants.
Yep.
But besides that, when it comes to the other park, I'm like, do you have to eat at the park? Because like, I'm not going to tell you to eat somewhere in the park unless you really don't want to leave.
Right.
The food's not good.
You know, it's funny because people are like, "Where's the best place to eat in Magic Kingdom?" And I say, Steakhouse 71 or Kona.
Yeah.
And,
No, 100%. I'm like, please don't eat in the Park of Magic. Like, there's
don't.
so many other places. Monorail right away.
Yeah.
You can go to.
And from what I'm hearing, Grand Flow Cafe slaps now.
Yes, I love Grand Flow Cafe. So I went there for dinner and I had the fried chicken, absolutely to die for. So
Right.
good. And then I just went for brunch and I got the chicken and waffles, which is basically the fried chicken you would get for lunch or dinner, and a giant Mickey waffle. And I've never been a fan of the giant Mickey waffles. Call me crazy, but it's completely different than the smaller Mickey waffles.
Yeah.
But regardless, the fried chicken, absolutely delicious. Slap.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's all I've had. Can't speak on anything else I've had there, but what I've had there was good.
I've had a couple burgers there. They were pretty solid. I don't know if they're still around or not. One had lobster
Oh,
on it. It
I
was
think
weird.
they are.
Yeah. So it was solid. Enjoyed that. Steakhouse 71 for lunch was a little underwhelming for me. I think a lot of people talked up the burger too much, and it was good, but it wasn't nearly as good as, people were telling me. Dinner was out of this damn world, though.
Oh, I agree. Like, if you can, definitely do dinner.
Yeah, by far. Have you made it over to Coronado and eaten there anywhere? In the tower?
No. It's my goal. I want to. I just haven't had the time.
Put it on the list, man. Grab a minivan and head over. It's Dahlia Bar up top is fantastic. Barcelona down below, there's a drink called the Armada. If you like the Tempting Tigress, you'll like this. It might actually be the best old-fashioned on property.
All right, I'll have to try that. I also want to try Three Bridges too because I heard amazing things. I have to go.
I've had 2 meals at Three Bridges. We stayed in the tower the year that it opened. I had 2 meals at Three Bridges. One was good. One was a miss.
Okay.
But it was also like late, and I don't know if it was what we ordered. It could have been a little bit of everything in that capacity. So, but it's a good spot. If you're a gin fan, that's the place to go. Not Three Bridges specifically. They have gin drinks there, but the Barcelona bar downstairs at there. You walk in, it's just a list of gin tonics. That's it.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Perfect,
cool, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have there.
Right. Nice, man. All right, so listen, Mike, we've been going for about $1.45 now. Appreciate you hanging out.
Of course, man. This was awesome. Anytime. I'm glad
what
to do it.
What do you got coming up? Anything else you wanna throw out there?
No, nothing really. I mean, the next time I'm back in the bubble will be October. Doing Halloween Horror Nights for one of the nights, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, so just chilling for now until the next trip. Can't
Nice,
wait.
man. Well, we should probably get you and Will on and talk,
Bro, yeah.
trip report from
Let's
this
do it,
last
bro.
one.
It would be a trip. It would be a trip with both of us. So I would be down for that. 100%. Let's make that happen.
We'll make it happen, man. Appreciate it.
Bet.